him? Roll. Yes. Rolling.
The news keep my eye, girl. I'm over here trying to
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yo, what it is? What's up? Know it ain't final until I speak on it, man. And this is something I know a little bit about. You feel me? So make sure y'all subscribe to the channel, because you ain't gonna get this on the academics page. I promise you. You feel me? A lot of bloggers ain't even know what an Alfred plea was. People was confused because it's not really used that often in criminal cases. Now, what make this ironic pertaining to me is I pled guilty to an Alfred plea. Yeah, I did. And what we're going to do with this video, we're going to talk about this plea that Gunna just got offered and taken. And I'm going to tell you where he went wrong, because I think he might have been tricked. But in order for me to do this, I'm going to have to brief you a little bit about my case. Now, people that been following me know what I've been locked up for. I told you I've been locked up for murder. I never really displayed it to the people, but in this video I am. But I got to give y'all some background information because it looked crazy. You feel me? Considering the time that I caught. You would think I pulled the Gunna move, but no, that ain't what happened. So, an Alfred plea is a plea that they give you when they really don't got a lot of evidence. So what you're doing is, you're not admitting guilt. You maintain your innocence. But what you're saying is that, or what they're saying is, because they write it up. That's another thing that none of these bloggers talked about and I'm going to get into. But what you're saying is if I go to court, if I try these charges, if I take it to trial, it's a chance that I could lose. So, I'm going to take this deal. That's what they do. Now, they only normally do this if the case is weak. That's why you don't hear about it often. You feel me? And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to tell you where Gunna went right, and I'm going to show you where it went all the way wrong. You feel me? Because these Alfred pleas, they can be tricky because they're written up by the state. So these statements that you see Gunna saying yes, ma'am, and no, and yes, ma'am, too, he didn't write these statements. Basically, what you're doing is the state is writing up their description of what happened. And you just agreeing to it. You feel me? And that's typical with any plea bargain. You got to agree, you got to admit guilt. Some kind of way, you got to admit guilt. Now, with the Alfred plea, you still maintaining innocence, but you're admitting that they can find me guilty. And I think Gunna got tricked. Because most guys, most people that's locked up, we don't really read up on our cases. See, I did. I knew exactly what I was doing. You feel me? But most people don't really read up on this shit. They don't really know what they're doing. They just, my lawyer got my best interests at heart. That's what they want you to believe. But this is all a game. The lawyers, the judges, the prosecutors are all playing. You just a pawn. You feel me? So it's a chance that Gunna ain't really know what he was getting himself into. But before I get into all that, I'm going to take you to my case. So in 2005, I was arrested. First degree murder charge. You feel me? Me and a couple of co-defendants. And we sat for like almost a year. You know what I mean? Sat for almost a year. Then my lawyer come holler at me with this plea. No, that's not what happened first. What happened first is one of my co-defendants copped out. He pulled the Gunna move. You feel me? And part of his deal was he was going to testify. Mind you, I just told this guy, yo, don't take the deal. The case is weak. They're going to throw it out. They don't got nothing. You feel me? The case is all hinged off of an uncredible witness. That really, I mean, uncredible witness. I ain't going to go too much into detail. So, don't take the deal. So, what he does is he takes the deal anyway. Now, got me and my other co-defendant in a tight spot is because we want to fight. Similar to Gunna and Thug. Thug want to fight, or Thug has to fight. You feel me? So, like I said, locked up, first-degree murder. Ends up pleading guilty to conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. Caught a 10-year bit, 5 suspended. And before you get carried away, no, I didn't tell. I got all the proof. But that leads me into this plea. So, my lawyer come to me with this plea. And mind you, one of my people just had pled guilty. And part of his deal was to testify. So I'm making this clear. Like, yo, no, I'm moving too fast. So my lawyer comes, talks to me. And he like, the deal still on the table. You feel me? So at this point, I'm not trying to take no deal. I'm trying to fight. You feel me? I think the case garbage. They ain't got shit. So my lawyer put it to me like this. You facing life in prison. Matter of fact, the first deal they offered was 50. Then they came down to no more than 20. I'm not taking none of that. You feel me? I don't think they got a case. I think it's weak. So he put it to me like, all right, if they was talking 20 years, this is exact words. Rest in peace to Roland Walker. If they was talking 20 years, he told me he would fight it. If they was talking 15, I would say fight it. But they talking 10 years, 5 suspended. I would take that. Now, before I decided to take this deal, I reached out to my other co-defendant to make sure that if I was taking this deal, that we was all on board, because I'm not testifying on nobody. Straight up. I ain't going out like my other peoples. So if we gonna do this, we gonna do this together. Family got together, say, all right, fuck it. Take the deal. Cool, right? But you would think that, shit, you got 5 years, 10 years, you made out. But what they don't tell you is, you can't get a job after this. You feel me? They don't tell you that every application you fill out, you're going to get denied. So yeah, it looks good, face value. But in the long run, in the grand scheme of things, it hurts you. I had to get out of Maryland just to even get a job. So that's what leads me to Gunna. Because what people don't understand is, like I said, lawyers, prosecutors, judges work together. It's a game. And Gunna attorney works for Gunna. You feel me? He don't really have no moral obligation to no one else. His main goal is my resume and my client. So sometimes they'll sell your client up the river to keep their resume looking good. You follow me? So that's why Gunna released this statement.
Sergio Kitchen's press statement suggests in the case of his Alford plea, he's, quote, maintaining my innocence toward the same charge, unquote. It says, while I've agreed to always be truthful, I want to make it perfectly clear that I have not made any statements, have not been interviewed, have not cooperated, have not agreed to testify or be a witness for or against any party in the case, and have absolutely no intention of being involved in the trial process in any way.
So you hear in the statement that he's not coming to court. He's not testifying on nobody. He didn't write no statements. And in a way, it's true. In a way, it's true. But I'm going to get back to that, because I want to show you where the standard Alford plea and how it works. So in the beginning, when it first started off, this was cool.
5 years to serve 1, commuted to time served, balance suspended. And the parties agree that upon completion of the special conditions that I will enumerate, the suspended sentence will terminate by consent order.
The Fulton County District Attorney's Office says Gunna pled guilty to the single count he faced in a sprawling indictment focused on the alleged criminal street gang YSL against him and more than 24 others. Conspiracy to violate the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act. The guilty plea entered as what's called an Alford plea, where a defendant doesn't admit he committed the crime but acknowledges it's in his best interest to plead guilty.
If caught by any party in this case, you will testify truthfully, but reserve any Fifth Amendment rights or privileges against self-incrimination. You agree to perform 500 hours of community service, a substantial portion of which will require that you speak to young men and women about the hazards and immortality of gangs and gang violence, and the decay that it causes our community. Please state after each statement whether or not you agree or acknowledge that the statements are true, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
I became affiliated with YSL around 2016. Is that true as it pertains to you, Mr. Kitchens?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, there wasn't nothing wrong with Gunna said right there. That's typical. That's normal. He joined YSL in 2016. You feel me? Nothing wrong with that. That was the only thing he was supposed to admit in this whole thing. This whole trial. Because that was his role. He only got found guilty with, he only got charged with 1 count of racketeering. Nothing else. You follow me? So there was really no need to add all this extra stuff in there. What's the extra stuff? This.
YSL is a music label and a gang, and you have personal knowledge that members or associates of YSL have committed crimes in furtherance of the gang.
Yes, ma'am.
You were present when law enforcement officers stopped a vehicle in which you were present along with Jeffrey Williams, wherein hydrocodone, methamphetamines, and a firearm were recovered. These items did not belong to you.
Yes, ma'am.
And do you acknowledge the following statement? I recognize, accept, and deeply regret that my talent and music indirectly furthered YSL the gang to the detriment of my community. YSL as a gang must end. Is that your statement or acknowledgement?
Yes.
Now it goes into the lane of telling. Because you heard Gunna. He didn't make no statements. He didn't. Like I told y'all before. The state writes this up. And you see how they wrote it up? They wrote it up real good. He might not even been fully aware of this, but his lawyer was. Yeah, Gunna had that paper. You see him reading. Because he get a copy of everything that's said. But at this point, you kind of already in too deep. Now, you can say, hold up. No, stop this. I ain't agree to none of this. But you see, that's not what he did. He went with the flow. So, what he did was, he dry snitched. Because he don't got to come to court. Matter of fact, he can go there and plead the 5th. But, those are his statements now. Whether he said them or not. You signed to this. So when Thug and the rest of them other guys go to court, that can be used. Well, Gunna said that YSL was a gang. Gunna said that the guns and the drugs, when you and Thug was together, Gunna said those shit drugs, Thug, because he said they not his. He signed that. And that's what you're not going to hear nowhere else on YouTube. Yeah, people going to say he told. But a lot of guys never been in this situation to break it down. Because that's where me and my peoples went wrong. He took a deal on a sneak. Similar to what Gunna did. Now, a lot of times when you get in these indictments, especially when they don't have nothing, they'll put you in a jail under something called keep separate. Which means they'll try to have every single one of y'all on a different unit, on a different section, on a different tier. Now, with 28 guys, it probably was hard to do that. But that's what they would try to do. Because they don't really want you talking about the case. They don't want you talking about the case when the case is weak. So all Gunna had to really do was stand strong. Because if they offered you an Alfred plea, They didn't have nothing at all. Because they don't just get those away. They didn't just do that because that was Gunna. They did that because Gunna ain't really have no evidence against him. Other than the fact he was signed with YSL. Now, he got this rat label on him. And I don't think he even realized why. Because in his mind, based off of what his lawyer told him, is you ain't tell. You didn't write the statements. But Gunna's a rookie to this. He probably wasn't reading up on this case. He don't really know how the system works. So he didn't know that, yeah, I don't got to go to court. You're right. But those statements can and will be used against Young Thug and the rest of them defendants. Straight up. And he ain't have to do that. And I think this was an effort between his lawyer and the prosecutors. His lawyer threw him. Just to protect his resume. Now his client, he free. Yeah, he is free. So it's a win for the lawyer. But morally, image-wise, Gunna fucked up. Big time. Because he definitely told. Like I said, not the part where he was just admitting that he was a part of the label. No. Not that part. That was in bounds. But once they start talking about the other stuff and now he denouncing them and he's saying YSL was a gang. Yeah, you told, brother. Straight up. And this is going to be the best breakdown of this y'all going to find on the YouTube. I promise you. Because a lot of these guys say they street. Some of them probably are. But I done been through shit like this before. I know exactly how it go. And what Gunna just did was, he helped himself. He didn't care about nobody else. And when you got co-defendants and you taking deals, you got to make sure that we all on one accord. Because Thug's sister said this.
No, stop saying YSL, stop screaming it. I don't care if you sign or not. Just go on. We ain't with you. That's work for my brother and me. Yeah, my brother was sad when I told him. He been heard about. I mean, he been knew. I went to see him Sunday, but he knew what had happened. But he didn't know that, like, it was all over the internet. And he didn't know that they recorded it. So when I shared that information with him, it just kind of like was a bummer. But I thought that somebody, whoever that he talked to, might have told him that already.
And that leads me to believe that Thug was blindsided. Yeah, he heard about it, but he didn't quite know Thug was going to take the deal. Similar to my situation. I heard about the deal. My peoples told him not to take it. Then I get on the phone the next day and find out he done took the deal anyway. Gunna just ruined the case. Now, the best thing that can happen for Thug is they offer him some type of deal when he can cop out. Because if he take this thing to trial, with Gunna telling, and it's a other alleged, this Murphy guy, the other alleged leader, telling, because he home too. Thug gonna get a whole bunch of time in prison, man. Straight up. But I'm gonna leave it like that, man. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. Like I said, academics can't tell you this. And I'm out.
Hey, Baltimore, bitch, I'm rapping Baltimore. Young street nigga, don't boy, I